Hi guys, another video. So in this video, I'll talk about my daily routine. Most of the time, my daily routine is a mess, but generally, I organize it in blocks. But yeah, sometimes it does get a little bit messy. Generally, so what happens during the week, right? Let's start for the week. In the week, from say 7 a.m. to about 3:30 p.m. I work as a bricklayer for a bricklaying company, and so that time is blocked out of my week. So I have to basically run my other businesses after hours, right? Construction business is a little bit tricky because a lot of the suppliers they close fairly early, so by the time I knock off at work, sometimes I don't have a chance to go to the suppliers and buy materials. So either I might have to, what do you call it? I might have to buy it at a bit more expensive price at Bunnings, because Bunnings is a, what do you call it? Bunnings is a major supplier in Australia, and they're mostly open like every single day, and they close like around 9 o'clock. So it gives me the opportunity to buy materials, but the materials are expensive, so I do have to charge a bit extra for those materials. Supplies like sand, bricks, and all that. If I can't get to the supplier in time, then I probably have to hire someone to source the materials for me, and that would mean I have to charge the client extra for delivery fees. So yeah, um, during the week, during the day, I work in construction, and then after I finish off, I might respond to some client requests or messages, text messages or emails, or if I got some missed calls, I might call some of my clients back. Sometimes I do this while driving. Like if I get a missed call, I would call the client back while driving, because sometimes to and from work, travel time to uh, to the job site is about like an hour one way, or sometimes 2 hours one way if it's a lot of traffic. So to stay productive, what I do is I basically take a call while driving, and I call one of my clients so that the time is productive, right? Or sometimes, say for example, I'm trying to decide on something, or I'm trying to work on admin side of things, and obviously while driving you can't really use a phone. So I might do voice to text, and I might maybe voice to text a message back to the client, or I might voice to text, say ChatGPT or another AI to help me with decisions, or help me with formulating messages, or help me with documentation. And yeah, so after that, then I try to organize with the clients when next I can come um, to their location and do the work, or I organize a meeting with the clients to a site visit uh, to check out a new job and to see before I quote. And then yeah, so I might visit a client after work, and then look at the job, and then I might quote it the same night or might take me a couple of days because I have a backlog of tasks. And then I will send up the quote within that week, and then possibly start the job the next week or the weeks after, depending on if I already have jobs in the pipeline. So that's the construction side. Now with my software side, right? Because like with the software, when I started that software development company years back, I used to do mostly everything myself, and that would have just taken hours and hours and hours. So from what I learned running the software company back then was um, that I had to take myself out of the picture and start delegating and start getting other people to do the work for me. So before, I hired a developer in Sri Lanka, right? And this was before ChatGPT. I would describe the job to that developer, and it would just be a lot of back and forth, because sometimes my requirements would be vague, and I have to refine the requirements for the developer in Sri Lanka and make sure that there's solid use cases or solid functional requirements and non-functional requirements for the developer to implement. But now, because with like ChatGPT, right, all I need to do is, so I think of a solution that needs to be implemented, and then I just type it into ChatGPT and ask it, please create me a document for developers, and create a spec doc, so a specification document, so that the developers can understand. And essentially, what AI does is it breaks down. It takes my vague requirements and it breaks it down. And sometimes I have to iterate over and over again with ChatGPT to make sure that the requirements that I'm sending off to the developers are concise and full, right? And then when I'm happy with the requirements, then I send it off to the developers. And then if it's like a user interface or an app that I have to develop, or a feature of the app that, in addition to the app that we're developing, um, what I do is I just ask ChatGPT, this is my idea, this is what I want to implement. Can you generate a high fidelity wireframe, right? So the ChatGPT captures that and generates a high fidelity um, wireframe. A wireframe is basically just a sort of like a prototype of what the user interface will look like, right? Without being functional. So I get ChatGPT to generate that, and then I send that off to the developers, and then they, and then because I'm outsourcing the coding to them, I don't spend that much time in coding. Because I have a background in software development, I understand the design of the software dev side, and so I know what I'm looking for. So all I do is I just set out the requirements and send it to the team. Now, as the team develops, the code and the back end and the front end, they communicate with me asynchronously. They message me while I'm working during the day. I might not respond to them, but like maybe around lunchtime during work hours, I might respond to them, give them feedback on their work. If they send me screenshots, or if they send me the progress reviews or progress updates of their work, they send it to me during lunchtime, and then maybe I have a read of it during lunch, and then after work I quickly reply to them. What I might do is I might have some feedback for them and tell them, but also the feedback that I have might not be precise, or it might not be it might not be all the details that they needed to hear to fix the issues that I wanted them to fix. So what I do is sometimes I might take a screenshot of the work that they've done, or a screenshot of the code and all that, upload it to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT which part of the code should be updated, or which part of the code should be fixed, or which part of the logic of the code should be fixed. And this is our goal. How should we fix that feature? Or this is what the interface looks now. This is the front end. What needs to be updated with the user interface to make it more usable to the user, or make it more aesthetically pleasing, or something along these lines. So I have to be flexible as well, because sometimes I can't just block in time blocks in my calendar, because sometimes my developers need me for major decisions, or I have to pivot and tell them what to do. And sometimes I have clients for my construction side, the part-time construction work that I do, and I have to respond to them. So I have to get back to the developers at a later stage, right? So that's the actual benefit, right, of having a software team and communicating through, say, online messaging, and say using Slack or Discord or something like that, because I can communicate to them asynchronously, and while they're doing the work, they don't need me to be there constantly. So I can actually run the jobs asynchronously with my software team. With the construction side, I can't really run that asynchronously, because I have to be there in person, because the company is still a small company, and for me to run the construction company without me being there, I have to hire either a foreman or someone, a team lead, to run the company, and I'm just not at that stage yet. So I have to be there to oversee the quality of the implementation. So the construction side, I can't really let that run by itself. But with the software side, I can probably let it run maybe 60 or 70% of the time by itself. And that's one reason why I'm able to run the software side of things. Well, that's the reason why I'm able to run the three companies, is because the software team is mostly autonomous, and they work independently from me, and they just get feedback from me and input for what they need to get done. In the construction side, I take care of that. I take care of that personally, but I do that after hours and when I actually have time, right? And during the week, the thing that I can't change is working full time as a bricklayer. Now, you may ask, why am I working full time, and why don't I just go full on into business mode, right? Well, I can do that, but right now I'd prefer to have a stable income and cash flow, because 1 week we might be getting a lot of clients, and then another week we might be silent and not getting that much clients, and and at the same time I want to be able to put food on the table and pay for the bills. And not just that, because I am developing this application on the side, I need constant funding for it, and basically my day job allows me to fund that development of the software while things are quiet on the construction side, or even on the software services side, right? Yeah, so basically that's mostly it. And on the weekends, mostly on Saturdays, I relax. That's my rest day. And then on Sunday, that's when I usually either do my side jobs, or actually haven't told you guys this, but I do have another casual part-time work with another guy, and that is he runs a jumping castle and events business, and I help basically move jumping castles, mechanical bulls, and all that. And yeah, that's for extra side income as well. The benefit of that job, though, mostly is for cash flow, but sometimes in those jobs it's mostly like you set up the events and then you just stand there, take care of the job. And my boss is kind enough to allow me to sort of focus on my business while I'm sort of helping oversee the event. So essentially I'm hitting two birds with one stone, because I'm getting paid to just stand and watch and oversee the job, but at the same time, when I have free time on that job, I message my developers, or I message clients back, or I do business work, and that means that I get basically paid during that day, but at the same time I'm also focusing on my business, and helping me, and that helps me like build my business as well, right? And yeah, so it's a bit of a mess right now. My future plans, right? I plan to maybe hire someone in the future to manage my clients. So, for example, once we get an influx of clients on the construction side and the software dev side, because I'm going to be on the tools during the week, I want to be able to respond to clients. So they'll probably the messages and emails and the phone calls will probably be just forwarded to a virtual assistant, and then they will deal with the majority of the communication. And then when it's the crucial moments, so closing the deal, or sending off the quotes and finalizing the scope of the job, they'll probably pass it on to me so that I can oversee it and finalize that. And then also for the construction work, I might train up someone to sort of organize setting up the job, so that before, say for example, I quit a job 1 week and then next week we start the job, I hire someone to organize, set up the materials and deliver it to the location. And then all I need to do, instead of me running around with the errands of setting up the job, I could just go straight to the job, straight from work, after work, and then start the job and finish the job there and then. And at least it's more efficient on my time, and I'm not wasting time going back and forth, right? Obviously I have to pay the guy to do the deliveries and manage the site, but I will sort of make sure that the quote takes that into account, and make sure it's if the client disagrees with it, or if the client asks why it's a bit more expensive, then I just explain to them, this is the delivery fees, this is organizing the deliveries, and finding and matching materials if it's for repairs and all that. And yeah, but slowly and surely, uh, at the very beginning of the business, and if you're starting a business, you have to do everything mostly yourself. But eventually, if you stay stuck in trying to do everything yourself, you're just going to burn out. So you have to start getting people on board as soon as you can. Obviously, at the start, it's a chicken and the egg problem. It's like you need the cash flow to hire people so that you can generate more cash flow, but you can't generate more cash flow if you can't service the job because you don't have enough people, right? So yeah, sometimes you might have to take a step back to take 2 steps forward, you know? So you might have to sacrifice some jobs, or you might have to sacrifice some of your income and your profit so that you can set up the systems in place to be able to run your business properly. And I'll admit that I haven't set up my systems properly yet. Like, it's getting there. I'm using, ChatGPT, asking it for advice on, how to set things up properly, and it's helping me a lot. And I probably wouldn't have gone this far if I didn't use those tools to my advantage, right? So, for anyone out there who's trying to start their business, I'd recommend learning, especially how to use AI or ChatGPT, because if instead of hiring like an admin, like you probably do need to hire an admin eventually, right? But even then, you'd probably get your own admin to use ChatGPT or AI to optimize their workflows, and then you also optimize your workflow. So effectively, instead of just hiring one admin to manage your admin, your admin can potentially work with it. Your admin could potentially be the equivalent of 5 admins, or 5 to 10 if they're using ChatGPT effectively. And a small company can output so much more work if you've got systems in place. But if you're doing everything manually, if you're doing everything by paper, if you're doing everything, the calculations in your head, and then writing your quotes out manually, writing the quotes out manually, writing specification documents manually, writing sourcing materials manually, and doing everything manually, then yeah, those little additional time that it takes you to do everything manually is just going to add hours. And those are the things that most people don't add on quotes, because either they're trying to price the price right for the client so that they can win the job, right? But at the same time, that it might be because they didn't consider it. Like, they might have thought, oh, I'm only going to charge this client $1,000, but they didn't realize that there's hidden costs. Like, there might be $500 hidden costs because they were running around trying to look for suppliers, matching materials, and organizing things in the back end, that they lost $500 on the job without realizing it, because they just calculated the amount of time it takes them to do the installation and not the actual full end-to-end job. Anyways, yeah, that's just me sort of blabbering on about what I do, and I hope you can take something from this and learn something from myself. I'm still learning in the process as well, and refining. And if there are things that you think I can do better, then maybe just comment down below, or leave a message or something like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it on how I manage my the day-to-day. And basically, I would say that right now maybe I might be working like 70-80 hours per week or something like that, and probably not getting much sleep. I should get more sleep than I should. Like, then I should get more sleep than I'm getting right now. Like, I'm probably averaging like 4 or 5 hours sleep, which is probably not healthy. But I think once I get better systems in place and get things managed properly, then I might be able to add an extra hour or 2 of sleep every night. And not just that, that's just the work side of things. Like I still have to add in time with family, time, you know, with socializing and all that. And yeah, it yeah it if you try to do everything, yeah, it's really difficult. I'll be honest, you know, and it's not an easy thing, you know. It's not for everyone. Um, but if you think you can do it, then it's well worth the risk, you know. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video. Uh, I'll see if I can give you more valuable insights and progress to what's happening within my businesses and what I'm doing. And yeah, no worries. I'll see you next time.